I just got a ping that we have to start this episode with a card pull from my angel card deck. And I was like, well, no, what does that have to do with this episode? I'm like, no. I know when I get a ping like that there's a message that we're supposed to receive. I'm supposed to hear it. You're supposed to hear it. And this is from my magical dolphin angel deck, which has the most beautiful artwork. All right. So I just did a card pull and it says, set your sights higher, increase your standards, and expect more for yourself. Don't settle. And there's an explanation. So let's go to the explanation. This card indicates that you've been trying to rationalize that some situation is okay when it isn't. You've settled for less than you desire and for much less than you deserve. You don't need to compromise. Heaven will help you heal or will replace troubling situations in your life. All you need to do is ask for heaven's help and then adhere to the guidance that results. Take time today to visualize and dream about your true heart's desires. Don't worry about being disappointed. You deserve a great life and you have the power and the heavenly help to accomplish it. Fear and worries slow down your manifestation, so keep releasing all cares and doubts to heaven. You may feel intimidated by moving up to a higher plateau in your journey. However, you have heaven's reassurance that you are ready. Reach for the stars, know that you're qualified and deserving of those gifts, and open your arms to receive them. Ooh, I know I needed to hear that one today. Wow. Wow. Some of you might even need to rewind and hear that right from the beginning. So the episode today on 3 steps to attracting strangers who are eager to buy from you all stems from this one story. And I learned this the hard and the expensive way, like most of my lessons. So whether you're just starting out in business or if you've been at it for years, without attracting new clients in your business, it can't really grow. But you have a valuable skill set to offer that people need what you're offering. Yet you are totally baffled when it comes to finding the people who are excited to buy from you. My first business, just so you know, was built the old-fashioned and hard way, going to conferences, networking, flying to do 120-page PowerPoint pitch presentations, only to get told no after hours and hours of unpaid work. It is truly easier now more than ever to make money with your talents and skill sets. Plus, the cost of starting a business is lower than ever in history. Same with running a business right now. When I started Project Me close to 5 years ago, I knew I was doing an online business model using content marketing to attract and build relationships with people like you. I saw thousands of other people doing it, so why not me? So I poured time, energy, heart, and money into creating all of this highly valuable educational content. And then crickets. Nobody was asking to hire me. My podcast wasn't taking off, and my content was hardly getting any engagement except for 90-day fiancés asking me for money. So weeks after weeks of this, I was mentally fried and frustrated. This didn't feel fun. It felt forced. But then I had an epiphany in my living room that changed my business and, quite frankly, my life forever. If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash making advice. Now let's get to it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, your relationships, your mindset, your abundance, and everything in between while having a hell of a lot of fun doing it. Because if we aren't having fun building a business, building our personal development, building our wealth, building that manifestation muscle, then what's the point? There's enough things that we have to do in life that are so draining and heavy and tedious and annoying. In fact, most things. So don't make something that's your vocation that's going to provide you the luxuries and the freedom and all the things that you want. Don't make that hard too, just because we've been programmed that success has to be hard work. And if hard work you get rewarded for, you don't get rewarded for anything else. We've gone too far with it. I was recently on one of my friends and clients' podcasts, and shout out Regina. And we were talking about this. She's like, I'm bringing back the word hustle. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that word. And she's like, I feel we've gone too far the other way, where it's like anti-hustle. And now people don't want to work, or they're having this expectation that they do some toe dipping moves and all the cash is there. And I go, you know what? You're damn right. It has gone the other way, because I don't like the hustle, forced overworking energy and self-sacrificing. We don't need to do that. That's not available anymore. We're not going to do things that hard way. But going the other way, where it's like, oh, I put this out and why is no one buying? And I'm doing all this work in my content and no one's doing anything. It's, are you really in an all-in play? I don't even know if that made sense in how I said it. What I mean by an all-in play, that doesn't mean 12 hours a day, sacrificing your health, sacrificing sleep, and, time having fun. I mean like energetically all in. Like you want to show up for your business and those people you serve every day. I want to be here on this show talking to you. I would love to be on it every single day talking to you. But then I'm thinking you guys would be sick of me at this point. I want to be serving you on TikTok, on Instagram, on Pinterest. I want to be serving you in email in all the possible ways. I delight in it, and I feel it shows. Even when I'm cunty with a K, I still am obsessed with what I do as a vocation to generate impact, to generate money, to create the freedom life that I have and the luxuriating life I have. And if you don't have that feeling about a business, it's going to be very difficult to grow it. And it's going to be very difficult to sustain it, even if you grow it, because you'll end up burnt out, resentful, bored, and over it. And there's always ways to course correct. And this is something that happens a lot inside my masterminds, which, by the way, what is going on with you if you have not applied for my Abundance League Business Mastermind? It's 4 months with me and my Project Me Dream team, and we are teaching you all the things from profitable content marketing to what to put on sales pages, to packaging and pricing your offers so people are eager and excited to buy them, to audience growth, to overall branding and core messaging that really connects deeply and emotionally with your ideal clients. Plus, you get 2 days with us live in Los Angeles right at my new beach house. And it will be seriously the most fun you've had in years, is what a lot of people said who were at the mastermind. But it will also be the most transformational for your business, because when you bring together all different minds from different backgrounds, but who all have the same energy of wanting to build and wanting to serve for the greater good, and are heart-based entrepreneurs and really want to be a beautiful support system for the other people in the group, and they want to receive the support in return, and they're willing to do what it takes. It is incredible. You're getting like the power of all of these minds all on your business. It's really cool how that works. That's why a mastermind is called a mastermind, because you're putting together all these different minds and having that energy and that strategy and that creativity and that love and that input and that support and that advice all showered on you and your business and your growth for your greatest good, there's no way you can't walk out of that having your life transformed. Ooh, I'm getting a little choked up because I'm thinking back to some of these moments that the ladies had in the last mastermind. And if they're listening, they know who they are. And sometimes the transformation happens in the months after, because some of us take a little longer, to integrate and process. But when you can watch it in real time and hold space, oh God, it's like one of the most rewarding things that I do. Anyway, I went off track a little bit there, but I want you to apply. Go look at the page. All the information is on it. Of course, if you have to miss any of the live sessions, there are replays that we send out because there's people from all different time zones. So it's okay if you have to miss a few of them. And it is at projectmewithtiffany.com/Abundance League. And if you're like, I'm not sure, am I a good fit? Am I far enough along in my business? Like, I don't want to, apply and waste your time, Tiffany. If you aren't sure after reading the page, you know what? Like, if you have any doubt, just DM me on Instagram. Send me a DM at projectmewithtiffany and I'll let you know. But really, why don't you just apply? If you feel it's something that you could benefit from, just trust that if you're being pulled towards it, because it's often the thing that we're resisting the most is the thing we need to do. You know how they say in working out, the very exercise that's so painful and so uncomfortable and that you want to avoid doing is the very thing that you need to do to get to where you want to go, because that muscle needs to be developed. It's the same thing when it comes to business and personal development. Anything that feels risky, anything that feels vulnerable, anything that feels new, where you're out of your standard bubble comfort zone, leaning into that is what's going to get you closer to the cash and clients that you want to bring in. And you have to also think of it this way in the law of attraction world. If you're not willing to be uncomfortable and stretch yourself financially, energetically, emotionally, physically, mentally, and doing something new or doing something different or doing something on a grander scale, then why would your ideal client lean into you when that feels equally, if not more vulnerable for them? That's something I want you to think about. But you can swipe up. It's in the show notes. And the link is also in my Instagram and TikTok bio. And we're in a pre-launch sale and it's almost over. So you get $3,000 off and it will never be at this price again. So you want to get on it. Okay. Let's get into these 3 steps. And I want to round out sharing and finishing that story, that epiphany I had in the living room. I was wearing a purple bathrobe. I was super bloated from eating way too many Cheez-Its on a transcontinental flight. And probably at that time, I was doing the Bloody Mary Cheez-It combo because, couldn't possibly have any more salt with cabin pressure for myself. I don't do that anymore because we had a really bad moment in Miami after having that combo. I haven't had a Bloody Mary since. Let's just say that. We'll leave it right there. So needless to say, I was looking ratchet. And I was kind of already tired, not feeling great. And I did not want to go and put on makeup and put on a cute outfit to go do a video and then gather my thoughts and sound very professional and having all of my words make sense and everything outlined. I'm like, what am I doing? This feels so hard and heavy. And I didn't start this business to create more hard for myself. I already have another business. I already have an 8-figure business. I was creating this because this has been a dream I had on my heart for 10 years. And I was stuck in so much self-doubt and fear around it. And I finally was like, enough's enough already. This is my heart-led business. This is my dream business here. I'm very grateful for my other business and it's intellectually stimulating, but this is my legacy. This is what brings me to tears, is this stuff. And I'm like, it can't be this hard, Tiff. how can I make this easier? How can this be more fun? And it clicked. It's like, why not just do a video as I am at any given moment? Why do I have to go be corporate Tiff? But I was so used to being corporate Tiff. And I know many of you listening are still stuck in the corporate version of you because either you're still have a jobby job, which if you're new to the show, welcome. And that's what I call, like, if you have like a full-time job and you're starting a side hustle and you're transitioning, I call it jobby jobs. So you still have a corporate jobby job, or you spent so much time in corporate that like that corporate personality is ingrained with you. Or my listeners who have a professional designation, you're a doctor, an accountant, you've gone through a lot of schooling, and there's a lot of industry vernacular. Even my realtors can do this too, where there's a lot of slogans, a lot of terms. You guys can easily get caught up in this stuff. And I thought I had to show up like that in order to sound professional, in order for you to see that I knew what I was talking about, in order for you to trust me with your money. And that's what I thought. The last thing I would think is that I could show up looking ratchet and bloated in a bathrobe, and then that would be the thing. But what I knew I wasn't available for anymore is for it feeling like a lot of work and being hard, because I wasn't going to be able to keep it up. I was already burned out and over it. So I looked at it like an experiment, and I was like, okay. And then I thought, oh, you know what would be clever? I could call these my bathrobe business sessions and make it a thing. And so it is. It became a thing. And my business within weeks blew up by 800%. Yes, 800% with me looking all sorts of crazy. And many of those videos, by the way, are now on TikTok for your viewing pleasure. And you will be able to see exactly how ratchet I look in many of them, because this was before there was filters. I mean, this was truly unfiltered me. And these weren't like 7 seconds long, 90 seconds. Some of these videos were 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 4 minutes, like whatever I needed to share in order to teach the lesson. I started swearing because I swear in my normal speech. I was me. I was who I am on camera, online. And if you met me out and I was like buzzed somewhere, same exact person. And anyone who's worked with me and anyone who knows me and anyone who's attended my masterminds, if you DM them and ask them that, they would say absolutely the exact same person. She's just even crazier in real life. That's what they would say. So I share this story because I want you to go, okay, how can I make this fun? How can I make my content for my business, for my brand feel fun and light and easy for me? Because if you're making it so hard and it has to include all these things and there's all these rules and all these parameters and, oh my God, I don't know how to edit this and do this. Well, that sounds terrible. You're not going to do it. Or it's going to feel like it's so much work and you have to hire people or learn tech that you don't know how to do. So first start with, well, how could I do this where it feels easy? And your brain might try to mess with you saying, well, it's not going to work that way. You can't possibly do it that way. Well, let's just experiment and see. Okay? Because my brain did the same thing. Tiffany, you could just be ruining this whole thing you're starting. In fact, you could lose your corporate clients from your other business because you work in a pretty conservative industry. And if they see these videos of you in your bathrobe and you're swearing and you're dancing and you're all sorts of a mess, you're going to lose $300,000, $400,000 a year contracts that you have. But I did it anyway. And you want to know what happened? All of those corporate clients, who each one of them at some point has come across one of my videos or podcast episodes, they love it. It actually made them like me more and further cemented and deepened our relationship, our working relationship. And they found it very refreshing and hysterical. And they know I'm not going to get in front of a boardroom, or when they hire me to go speak on a stage at their national sales meeting in front of 100,000 people, they know I'm not going to show up in my bathrobe. I mean, I will though upon request. I will actually do that upon request. Absolutely. So let's talk about some of these mistakes. And I want to say this, they're innocent. It's not like I'm saying these to you, like blaming you, you're doing it all wrong. I didn't know either. I learned the hard way. I learned the long way. This is why it's always good to pay someone and listen to someone who's done it, because it'll save you a lot of time and energy. So focusing mostly on educational content instead of emotionally connecting content. This is repelling people because it's coming from a good place, right? You want to help, you want to serve, you want to teach, and you keep hearing, oh, give content that's valuable, give content that's valuable. But if you don't have any emotionally grabby content that really resonates and feels relatable to your ideal client and has them feeling like, oh, wow, she or he really, really gets me and gets what I'm dealing with, it's not going to develop the trust fast enough in order for them to buy from you. You have to have trust for people to hand you their money. And if it's like $15, right, it's not as much trust. But if you want people to hand you their money and hand it to you over and over and over again, like the people who work with me don't just like buy one time, they buy over and over and over again. That trust needs to be there. And that doesn't just come from you giving educational content so they understand and know that, yeah, you actually know what you're talking about. People want to absolutely, without a doubt, feel like you get them. And that's what I'm going to make them feel safe enough to buy from you. And this can happen very quickly. This can happen in 2 posts of yours where someone can feel that way. This can happen in 1 email. So I want you to start doing content. If I were to give you a ratio, it all depends on what your niche is, what your specialty is, what your industry is. And we cover all of this inside my mastermind. But maybe 50-50 or 60-40 in terms of emotionally compelling and educational. And you can also combine the two as well. The second step, your content and messages, and that includes like the looks, the sounds, the feels, the vibes. If it looks like everyone else in your industry, you don't stand out. And blending in will leave you with a broke business. I have a hat next to me right now that I had made for the mastermind I did at the beach. I think it was June 2022 at the famous 90210 Beach House, $19 million house. And it says #not basic. Nothing basic. If you're putting stuff out there just to put stuff out there, it's not going to do well. It can't be basic. This doesn't need to be like earth shattering, but don't tell your ideal client what they already know. It's insulting. And yes, there's some things I share with you that you may have heard before, and I give my own take or a different twist to it. But if you're just regurgitating the same crap everyone else is, you have the same vibe. I used to make fun of like the blush pink and the rose gold branding that everyone had. A lot of people do the neutrals now. It's like, if you're doing the same thing that everyone else is in your industry, why would you be eye-catching off of a screen, off of a piece of content, off of an email? Why would you be memorable? I want you to stand out, but it's more vulnerable to stand out. So then ask yourself this question. What could I do to stand out? What could I do that people aren't doing in my industry? And a quick tip for this is go look at industries that you're not in and see what's being done in those. Stop looking at what's being done in your industry. I don't mean stop it altogether. It's good to have a pulse on it, but I don't really want you paying too much attention to that because that can mess with you. Go look at completely different industries. It could be consumer packaged good industry. It could be a permanent makeup industry. Go look somewhere else and see what they're doing and go, does any of that feel fun to you? Does any of that feel good to you? And, oh, I could apply this to my business in my industry. So no one was doing these raw, peeled back, unfiltered videos in the business coaching world, right? Like they were all very more serious. There were probably some people doing it. I just didn't know who they were. And it was different. It shocked people. There was certainly no multi-million entrepreneur at that time dancing online and swearing. That wasn't happening, but it made me stand out. Okay, so the third thing. You're coming across too professional and not personal enough on your videos, images, and written content. So you're going to allow people to see how knowledgeable you are by the info and advice you give. Okay, that's going to be obvious. What you need to allow them to see more of is how personal you are. By your casualness in your delivery, both in your appearance, your nonverbal cues, your speech. I want you to talk and present yourself how you would at a Starbucks versus how you would in a job interview. How are you showing up? Because that's what makes you more approachable. That's what makes people feel like they know you. And when they feel like they know you, they feel like they can trust you and be vulnerable, and then they can buy from you. And then there's not this kind of wall up. We already have a screen barrier in front of us, right? So you're not in real life in a majority of these circumstances, because one of my specialties is teaching you how to attract ideal clients that are strangers and converting them into paying clients and customers on repeat. Because there's billions of people out there that we can have them come to you. And that's great. And a lot of you may have had them even come to you. They might even follow you. They might even consume your content, but they're not buying from you. And this would be the main reason. So one of the things that I tell my mastermind girls is you don't need to let people into your bedroom. You don't need to let them into your bathroom, but you do need to welcome them in the front door into the kitchen and have a nice tea, have a wine. If you're not letting people in that way, and then your house also, if it's messy, I don't want you straightening up your house for this person to come over. I want it as is. And that's going to make someone feel less intimidated by you. That's going to make them go, okay, this is a real person who I can let my guard down with, share my problems with. I feel safe with this person. Because do you feel safe with someone who has a guard up, has a wall up, always seems high vibe, always is super professional, always is on it, always is energized? No, because we know that that's not realistic. So the more you show of yourself, the more the people are going to come and feel safe to DM you, private message you, email you, ask questions about your programs, because now you've become so much more approachable. We are going deep into this profitable content marketing inside the Abundance League Business Mastermind. So I am pulling back the curtain for the first time on my $1 million content formula. And we're not just teaching it to you in terms of information. You're going to implement it and put it into action. And that's what's great is you learn it, you're executing it, but you have the support while you're executing it, so it can get fine-tuned, it can get refined, so then you end up in the habit of doing it, and then it really sticks, and then it really works, and you're off and running on that content muscle that we built. Because really, you don't need more information. Your brain might tell you you do. What you need is more action. And it needs to be action that you're clear isn't going to waste your time, right? We only have so much time and energy. You want to make sure it's actions that are deliberate, that are focused, that are income generating activities, and cut out all the rest of the nonsense. And that's what we show you exactly what to do. But you don't need to take in more information and tell yourself you're going to implement it, because my guess is you're not implementing it. Or you're only implementing part of it because it all feels so overwhelming and too much. So I invite you to do this. Let's get that cash popping for summer. Let's make this happen. Let's make this year the year that you look back on 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and go, oh my God, I am so happy I made that move. I'm so happy I took that risk. I'm so happy I was uncomfortable and did the thing. I wish I'd done it sooner. Because let's be real, no one ever says, I wish I waited longer, right? And including myself, it's always oh my God, why didn't I do that sooner? And it's simply because we're scared and we get stuck in resistance and fear. And we just have to show up and do these uncomfortable things anyway, because that fear is not going anywhere. Waiting to be ready is a quick way to never meet any of your goals, because we're never going to really feel ready. You know, you're never going to say, I wish I started later. It's just not likely to happen. All right. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. And remember, there is an exciting giveaway that we're doing for podcast reviews in celebration for the show being in the top 40 of all podcasts in 15 different countries and growing, which is amazing. And if you leave a written review on Apple Podcasts, put your Instagram or TikTok handle in the review. And once a week, I'll be giving you an abundance surprise. I'm not going to say what it is. You just need to know that this shit's going to be good. So you don't have to send me a screenshot or DM me one. If you want to, you can. But as long as you have your handle inside of the review, that'll be enough for us to go in there and verify and pick a winner. And I read each and every one. If you're not an Apple listener and you're a Spotify person or you listen on another platform, you can't do a written review on those, but you can tap the 5 stars. It takes 1 second, and that also goes a long way. Thank you so much. Love you guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.